So again, for those of you that are just signing in, welcome. My name is Carolyn. So happy to be back in our beautiful Serasana studio and not doing this in my home as we did the last time. If you have the opportunity to have some meditative music, great idea, really helps set the mood. If you have Spotify, I have a couple of playlists. Carolyn's Gentle Yoga is a nice one. Carolyn's Yin Yoga is another nice option, unless you have your own music. Maybe a space where you can close the door for privacy and give yourself this hour of deep stretching, releasing of stress, releasing of anxiety, and doing some good for your internal organs as well. So let's go ahead and get started. You can see I have my mat lengthwise, and I have a block at the top, which is going to be for my head, and a block right below, almost in a T, which will be for my upper back, and I'll explain more. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn my body lengthwise. So my feet are at the foot of the mat, and I'm going to have the blocks behind me. So you can set up accordingly. One more thing, it's nice to have a blanket and a strap handy because we may use that later on in our practice. So we're going to go straight to our first pose. And our first pose is going to be a saddle pose. So in order to get to this somewhat difficult pose, we're going to take our time, and we're going to take our left hand, place it on the left outside part of our mat. So that will be the floor or the carpet, and then just lean the body towards the left. So I'm pressing my left palm into the mat or into the floor next to the mat, and I'm bending the elbow just a bit. And I'm going to take my right hand, bend the right knee, and grab the right ankle and just pull it back, the foot back behind me slowly. And then I want to make sure that the top of your foot is flat on the mat for the saddle pose. And then we're just going to bring the sit bones right back onto the mat. Now, notice how this is on your knee, how this feels to your knee, and make any kind of adjustments that you need to make. If you need to put a blanket underneath the knee, or bring the foot out a little more towards the outside of the mat, any kind of adjustments, because this right here is a big pose in itself. We're going to take it a little further. Because we've been doing probably this week a lot of sitting and just being still, we're going to do some deep stretch to take care of some of our ligaments and some of our muscles. So pressing the sit bones into the mat, we're going to take our right elbow, still supporting ourselves with our left hand, and come onto that right elbow. Next breath, we're going to take the left elbow, come onto that. And this may be as far as you take your saddle pose. I'm going to demo it the full expression. So I'm starting to come onto my first block, and it hits me right about where the bra strap is. Now, if you're male, obviously you don't have that. So just the mid back, and then my head is going to hit right where the block is. And you may have to adjust it to get comfortable. And then the next thing to decide is what to do with your arms. Lots of adjustment, lots of choices here. You can just allow your hands to rest by your side. Maybe the palms face the ceiling. If that isn't for you, you might want to just bring the arms just up above your head. And they don't have to rest. They can just, the hands can just rest on the mat. You want to make sure you're comfortable because we're going to be holding this for just a bit. And I'm going to stay right here where we are, but just use this time just to adjust. Get into your saddle pose on the right side, which is comfortable for you. And then we're just going to begin to breathe. So take your focus to your belly and take a big breath in from the belly, sipping the breath in through the collarbone, up through the back of the throat, and then exhale out any way you like. And then take another deep breath in from the belly. Sip in a little more air. Exhale out. And maybe on your third breath, turn that into yoga breath, ujjayi breathing, where we're breathing in from the belly, up through the chest and collarbone region, and then exhaling through the nose. Starting to hear that ocean sound in the back of the throat. Breathing in as though you're surprised to see somebody. Exhaling as though you're fogging up a hand mirror or your glasses. And then just allow yourself with your breath to let go. Completely escape. Release all of your thoughts, all of your lists, all of your concerns for what's ahead next week or tomorrow or even later after this practice. Just let that go. Let your mat absorb it. And then as you're holding this pose, think of an intention for your practice. And maybe it's one of gratitude for something that you have now that you didn't have a day or two ago. Maybe it's just a simple word, or maybe it's something that's very special to you. Just something that you can grab hold of if your mind starts to wander, or if you start to think, when is this pose going to end? Which is very normal when you're doing a yin practice. Just something that you can go back to. And if you're not able to think of something, that's okay. You can always go back to your breath. Just the words alone. Inhale. Exhale. Can be very, very meditational, very relaxing. Sometimes just the image of the ocean, because our breath resembles the sound of an ocean, can be a very meditative, relaxing state to be in as you hold a pose, especially one like we're holding tonight, the saddle pose, which is a challenging pose. We're going to stay in this pose for just 3 more breaths. You're doing fantastic. And then we're going to slowly come out of this pose. So the way that I'm demoing it, I have the arms over my head. I'm just going to slide the arms around, being careful about the shoulders. And then I'm slowly going to come up from the blocks, and I'm coming up onto my forearms. So I'm on my left forearm and my right forearm. And then I'm slowly going to just slide my hands back to where the forearms were and just come on up. And then I've got to come out of the saddle. So to do that, just the way getting into it, taking the left hand, placing it on the outside of the left side of your mat, and just rocking the body so that the hip bone is up on the right side. And then the right hand is just going to support that ankle on the right ankle, and just draw the right foot out of it. The right knee is bent. And then we're just going to take our right hand and just gently press the leg down, pressing on top of the knee. And then we're going to take both hands and just send the hands behind you, fingertips facing the back wall. Maybe stretch, reach the chest up towards the ceiling. And then we're just going to slowly pedal out our feet, drawing the toes towards the ceiling and just moving the legs, bending the knees. So we can prepare to do that saddle on the left side. And you're going to feel so good after this saddle position. So just concentrating on your breath as you move out the legs, breathing in, exhaling out. And then we're going to do the saddle on the left side. So we're going to take the right hand, bring it to the outside of the right side of your mat, and just roll the body onto the right hip. Then we're going to take the left hand and just support that knee, draw the left knee up, and then we're going to take our left hand and put it around our left ankle and just bring that left foot along the side of the mat. And the key here is to make sure that the top of the foot is flat on top of the mat. And then this is where you have to just kind of use your judgment and adjust what's comfortable for you. So we're going to just take the right hand, bring our body back to where both sit bones are on the mat. And then just find what is comfortable for you. Make the adjustments. Maybe a blanket comes under the knee on the left knee. Maybe you bring the left foot a little further out, just making sure that the top of the foot is flat on the mat. And then we're going to start to come down onto our elbows. So maybe you come down onto the right elbow first, and then the left elbow. And this may be enough for you, remembering that sides are very different. Or maybe you go into the full expression, which I'm going to demo right now. And I'm just going to start to come back, feeling that block hit my back right about where the bra strap is, the mid back. And then I'm going to rest my head. And once again, you may have to adjust your block. Just make sure you're comfortable and then decide what to do with the arms. Maybe you leave the arms by your body's side and just let the palms come up facing the ceiling. Or perhaps you sweep the arms over your head. Really nice stretch in the shoulders if you take it to this level. And then just close your eyes and let go. Concentrate on your breath. Allow yourself just to be still. That's the hardest part of yin, is letting go and allowing for stillness. We're going to stay here for a little while and just know that I will guide you when it's time to come out of it. So it's okay to just let your thoughts escape and just listen and meditate off the sound of your breath. Eyes can be closed. We're going to stay here for about 3 more breaths. Great work. And then we're going to slowly come out of it. So if you went as deep as I did, if you're on your blocks, just slowly sweep your arms back around, watch the shoulders, and then make sure that your hands are pressed down into the mat. So your palms are no longer going to be facing the ceiling. And then we're slowly going to raise the head and come onto the forearms, sliding the elbows back just a bit, eventually coming onto the hands. And then we're going to rock all of our weight over to the right side. Left hand is going to support the left wrist and the foot, and just slide the foot around so that it meets the right foot. And you're seated in a seated position, a forward fold position. And then we're just going to do that same thing. Take our hands and press them back behind us and just slowly move the knees. You may hear some popping, and just move the feet slowly, the knees bending up and down the mat, breathing in, exhaling out. Good. And then on your next breath, let's go ahead and just bring the knees up and turn around so we can make our way into a table position. And we're going to come back in a hero's pose. So we're going to go right to our next pose, but we're going to do a little bit of work while we do it. So we're going to tuck our toes underneath us and come back into that hero pose. And make sure your baby toe is getting a little bit of action, just pressing those toes in. And then just reach forward briefly and remove your blocks. So they're out of your way. Maybe move them back behind to the back of your mat, just to bring them out of the way. And while we're sitting here, we're going to try to stay still. It's some of our practices, some of our gentle classes, we do this pose and we rotate our ankles. But for right now, we're just going to concentrate on being still. So maybe you take your gaze to your mat or you close your eyes altogether. This pose isn't an easy one, but it's so good for your feet, especially if you've been wearing heavy boots, heavy shoes. And this is kind of a winter sequence that we're working on. So that's one of the focuses. So just continue to hold this and breathe. And we're going to stay in this position for 2 more breaths. So hold on and keep breathing. And then on your next breath, we're going to come out of this. So now we are going to take the hands and just spread the fingers as wide as we can. Opportunity to take care of the hands. And we're just going to press the hands into the mat, coming into a table. We're not going to stay in table long. We're going to just flatten the feet onto the mat, pedal the feet out just to get some of that stress out of the bottoms of the feet. And then we're going to sit back on the heels. Also a different variation of a hero's pose. This one's a little easier to stay in. And we're stretching out the ankles once again to just support the ankles and the feet if we have been wearing layers and wearing socks and heavy boots and heavy shoes. So once again, maybe you even take your hands into a mudra position and just bring all the fingers together, the fingertips to touch and the thumb to touch, creating a little bit of a triangle position, and just maybe resting that mudra, yoga mudra for your hands onto your lap. And this mudra also kind of helps with concentration. It's really good for meditation. It's just allow your thoughts to evaporate into the mat. Just relax and breathe as we hold this pose. This may feel a little bit different from the saddle pose and may actually be a little bit of a relief after that pose, holding it for the length that we did. Breathing in. Exhaling out. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to stay for one more breath. Great work. Opportunity. We're going to spread our hands wide again, and we're going to press them into the mat and come back into a table and take a little counter pose. We're just going to rotate our hips a little bit, making circular motions, maybe even drawing the belly button in towards the spine, almost in a cat-cow position, a little bit of a variation of cat-cow. And then we're going to take a stretch that's going to help our calf muscles. Very beneficial if we've been sitting a lot or even in our car a lot. So with your next breath, we're going to just lift the right foot. And then we're going to rotate the right foot towards the left side of the mat. And you might even drop your head down so you can look underneath you and see your calves. And the object is to get the right calf to meet the left calf. And then we're going to sit back and try to put as much weight as you can onto your calf muscles. This is not an easy pose. You may have to come out of it and readjust and then come back into it. And this is great if you're a runner, any kind of sport that you do. We hold a lot of tension. We don't even realize it in the calves, and they can get very, very tight. And this is something that gets easier to do over time, especially if you can allow yourself to relax the muscles. And if you do need to come out of this, give yourself permission and then try to go back into it. Remember, with yin yoga, there sometimes is a little bit of tension and sometimes discomfort. You just don't want any sharp pain. If there is sharp pain, you do want to come out of the pose. So hopefully you're distracted by your music and your breath as we're holding this. Maybe it doesn't bother you. Maybe you find this comforting. We're going to stay for one more breath. And on this side, breathing in, exhaling out. And the next breath, we're going to come right back into that table position and bring the right foot back to that table position and just make some little movements. Once again, moving the spine, maybe pressing the fingertips into the mat as we make these very subtle, gentle movements. Check in with your breath. Make sure you hear it in the back of your throat. And then on your next breath, we're going to do that same thing, that same calf stretch on the left side. So we're going to just drop the head and look behind you and take the left foot and just draw it towards the right side of your mat. You might have to make some little adjustments. And then once you find that your calves are lined up pretty well, you're just going to sit back and be very aware and notice if sides are a little bit different. And you're really just pressing out that calf muscle. It's almost like a deep tissue massage. And some people find this very, very invigorating, very great for athletes. Other people find it a little painful and do have to come in and out of the pose. So just be kind to yourself and just make sure that you're taking care of what your body is telling you to do while you're in this unusual position. We're breathing in, exhaling out. We're going to stay for one more breath. Inhale, exhale. Good. And then we're going to come back into a table, but we're not going to stay in the table for very long. Let's just take a cat-cow. Let's just go ahead and breathe in for cow. And then draw the chin in towards the chest for cat. Good. On your next breath, we're going to come into a child's pose. And we're going to make it a little bit of a wide kneed child's pose. So we're going to bring the right knee towards the outside of the mat. Actually, it's going to stay right inside the mat. So just wide. And then bring the left knee towards the outside edge of the mat. And then the big toes are going to touch. And then we're just going to sink the hips back behind. Now, this particular pose is so nice to do after that calf stretch because your body is kind of pressing on the calves, giving them a little bit of a relief. And then we're just going to bring our hands in front. Try to bring your chest down to the mat, and maybe you even press your forehead into the mat. I'm going to demo it, but I'm not going to stay because I want to make sure that you can hear me, and I don't want the mic to get in the way. So, but you can just press your forehead and maybe even roll your head side to side, and then try to come to a stillness. Try to be as still as you can and allow yourself to melt. This is really what I call a yummy pose. It's a very, very soothing, very calming, relaxing pose where you can let go. I will tell you that if you have any kind of a shoulder injury or even soreness in your shoulders, this particular variety can be a little hard to maintain for a long period of time. So feel free, if you do have any kind of an issue, just to allow your arms to come back to your sides, and maybe your hands reach for your feet and hold the pose in that way if you prefer. We're going to hold this one for a little bit. So just allow yourself to melt into your mat. See if your breath can take you deeper into your mat. And we're still holding this pose for several more breaths. So just allow yourself to let go. And we're going to stay here for about 3 more breaths. Breathing in, exhaling out. Inhale deeply. Exhale fully. One more breath. Good. On your next breath, we're going to slide the hands up towards the body and then bring the knees back underneath the hips. And you can make any kind of little wiggles that you need to make. Breathing in, exhaling out. Good work. On your next breath, let's do a little more deep stretching. So we're going to take the right leg and just slide it to the back of the mat. Let's go ahead and tuck the toes into the mat and draw the heel towards the floor. So the foot doesn't leave the mat at all. We're just getting a nice deep stretch. Think about that calf stretch that we did earlier, and this should offer even deeper relief for the calf muscles. And maybe you back off just a little bit and then press the heel back into the mat. Should feel really, really nice. Next breath, we're going to just slide that right leg back to our table and do that same stretch on the left side. So go ahead and just slide the left foot all the way to the back of the mat. Then we're going to go ahead and just tuck the toes, draw the heel towards the floor. Get a nice stretch. Should really feel nice if your calf muscles happen to be tight. If this bothers your knee, maybe just back off just a little bit and bend the knee. Otherwise, enjoy this. Breathing in, exhaling out. Good work. And then let's come back to a table where we're really not going to stay for very long. Make some more little wiggles side to side. And then with your next breath, we're going to tuck the toes. We're going to lift the knees, and then we're going to come into a down dog. First down dog of the evening, but we're not going to stay here terribly long. We are going to stay for just a mini yin pose, just to kind of stretch our back a little bit. If you want to do a very brief pedaling out of the feet and the knees, you can do that, but then try to come to stillness. And let's hold this one for just a brief bit. One more breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Nice work. Then on your next breath, we're going to rock forward, lowering the hips, and shoulders are just right over the wrists. And then we're slowly going to bring the elbows in towards the wrists, ribs, and come on down to our belly. Flat on the belly, slide the hands up towards the shoulders, and then just flatten the feet. And we're just going to press the right ear into the mat. Take a nice breath in. Then go ahead and exhale out. On your next breath, we're going to take the right hand and slide it off the mat, just reaching for the wall to the right side of you. If you are close to a wall, you might need to adjust just to give your wrist a little bit of room. And then we're going to take the left hand, which is right up above our shoulder, and just gently press into the right hand and roll onto our side so that the right shoulder is behind us. And this is just a really great shoulder stretch. Really, really nice. We're not going to hold this one for very long either. It's just a short baby yin. I call it baby yin pose. So staying here for about 3 breaths, breathing in, exhale out, inhale, exhale, one more breath, good, and then we're just going to roll back to the belly. Take a moment to bring the hands back right above the shoulders and maybe press the left ear into the mat and just take a breath. Deep breath in. Even deeper, exhale out. Beautiful. Then we're going to do that same stretch, but on the other side. So the left hand is going to reach off the mat. Maybe you even spread the fingers, relax that left shoulder, and the right hand is going to press into the mat, and you're just going to roll over onto your side so that your chest is facing the right wall. Maybe relax the head here. And we're just going to stay for 3 breaths, thinking about the shoulder girdle, thinking about the care of the shoulder. Inhale. Exhale. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Breathe in. Breathe out. Great. And then we're just going to roll back onto our stomach. Hands are going to be, once again, right above our shoulders, and we're going to slide them forward, coming into a Sphynx pose. So the easiest way to come into this is just think about where your hands are now, and we're going to replace our hands with our elbows. So we're going to just slide the hands off the mat, elbows, replace the hands, and we are there. So this is just a great pose. It's so good for so many of your internal organs. Go ahead and tuck your chin in towards your chest. And the most difficult thing about this pose is it does put a very deep arch into the back, which can make it hard to hold sometimes. So to alleviate this, a little trick is just to squeeze the buttocks, squeeze the backs of the thighs, maybe so much so that the kneecaps come off the mat and you can really feel the tops of your feet on the mat. And then slowly relax those muscles that you just squeezed. And try to stay. Just try to stay still. And if you need to do that again, squeeze the buttocks, squeeze the backs of the legs, lift the kneecaps, and press the tops of the feet into the mat. That's perfectly fine. The more that you do this pose, the less you will have to turn on the muscles. So once again, just allow yourself to let go. Allow yourself to just give in and escape as we hold this. Almost there. We're going to stay here for 3 more breaths. Breathing in. Exhale out. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Inhale. Exhale. Good. On your next breath, go ahead and just take your hands and slide them back to where the elbows were. And maybe you bend the knees and just rotate the ankles. Compress maybe your right ear or your left ear, whichever you prefer, maybe your forehead into the mat. And just breathe. A little bit of a counter pose, rotating the ankles. Breathing in. Exhaling out. And then on your next breath, we're going to lower the tops of the feet back to the mat. We're going to send the hands down to the rib cage and press back up into a table. Make any kind of little wiggles, any little movements that feel good. Maybe some hip circles. Not going to stay here for very long. And then on your next breath, we're going to just stay for a moment in this table, but we're going to slide the right knee towards the right wrist. And then we're going to heel toe the right foot to the outside edge of the left side of the mat. This is coming into a half pigeon. And then we're just going to slide very gently back onto the left leg. And we're in a half pigeon. And we're just going to walk our hands forward, come onto the forearms, maybe even bring the chest down and come into our half pigeon on the right side. Just once again, allow yourself to melt into this position and enjoy this deep, deep stretch that you're getting. And we're going to stay here for 3 more breaths, breathing in, exhale out. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Inhale. Exhale. Good. And then we're slowly going to come out of it. We're just going to bring our hands back up into that proud pigeon. And then we're just going to tuck the toe on the left side, lift that knee on the left side, and then just heel toe the foot back and slide the knee coming right back into that table position. And maybe a wiggle a little bit here before you take it to the left side. So let's go ahead and just go to that left side straight from here. We're going to take the left knee and slide it up to the left wrist, and then just heel toe the left foot towards the right side of the mat and scooch back onto the right. Maybe you sit up in a proud pigeon first and then come down onto the forearms. Sides are different, so make any kinds of adjustments that you need to make. And then just allow yourself to melt into this. If you find that your sides are different and you want to just stay on the forearms, perfectly fine to do any kinds of adjustments. Every side is different, bodies are different, days are different. Hydration can affect different sides as well. So just allow yourself to let go and melt. Meditative state of mind. We're going to stay for 3 more breaths, breathing in, exhaling out. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Inhale. Exhale. And then we're slowly going to press our body up, or the hands up, bringing our body up on the mat. And we're going to come out of this one a little bit differently. We're going to take the right leg and just slide it around and make our way into a seated position. And you can make this into a full pigeon if you want to. You can take the right foot and just rest it gently on top of the left leg if you like. We're going to take care of our necks and our shoulders just a little bit. So a little bit of stretch intermission before we go on to our back. So with your next breath, let's go ahead and just raise our shoulders up towards our ears, hold them there for just a little bit, and then roll them back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Let's go ahead and send the hands out to the side, spread the fingers as wide as you can. And then let's go ahead and bring the palms to the floor and just move the body side to side, just the rib cage. Sit bones, stay on the mat, moving side to side, breathing in, exhaling out. Good work. And then on your next breath, just bring the left hand down just to hover over the mat. We're going to cactus the right, squeeze the shoulder blades back, and let's squeeze the belly in towards the spine. And then the right hand's going to sweep all the way over, find the left ear, and maybe you close your eyes here and just draw the right ear towards the right shoulder, getting a nice stretch. And this is where we hold all the stress, all the tension in our necks, in our shoulders, in our upper back. So just allow yourself to melt and let go. Maybe just relax all the muscles right now and just breathe and let it go. And then with your next breath, take your left hand and just rest it on the knee, relaxing even deeper, and slide your right hand to the back of the skull. Give your neck a little squeeze. Maybe you use your thumb and that bone and the knuckle of the thumb just to give yourself a little massage. And then with your next breath, just draw your nose into your right armpit. Squeeze the belly in, breathe in. Exhale out. And then let's go straight to the other side. So we're going to just hover the right hand, cactus the left, squeeze the shoulder blades back just a bit. Maybe you close the eyes and then bring that left hand over to the right ear and then just help the head so that the left ear can be finding the left shoulder. And just close your eyes, relax, breathe. And then the right hand finds the right knee and just rests on top. Let's take our left hand and just slide it to the back of the skull. Give yourself a little massage, a little squeeze in the neck. Maybe squeeze the belly into the spine a little bit. And then just draw your nose into the left armpit. Maybe squeeze the belly in a little bit tighter. Make sure you're breathing here. And then bring both hands to your knees and just roll out your neck. Just give yourself a little roll side to side. Just saying goodbye to all the stress, the strain, and also thinking about the wonderful things that you've done so far tonight for your body. So many healthy things with this yin yoga practice. And then on your next breath, we're going to come onto our back. So we're going to come out of our sitting position and maybe bring the knees together, take the hands and just make your way onto your back. If you would like to take your blanket, if you have your blanket handy, maybe take that and just use it as a pillow. Just put it back there for your head. And then using your elbows just to get down in an easy way, come down on your right elbow and then down on your left elbow and just bring your head down. So we're almost in a Shavasana pose. We're not going to be in Shavasana quite yet, but we're getting very close. So on your next breath, go ahead and bend your knees, press both feet into the mat. We're going to take just a very short pose here. We're going to take the left leg and just take the left ankle and put it right above the right knee. Hands can go onto the left knee and just gently press the left knee towards the wall in front of you. And we're just going to hold this. Maybe even work your fingertips down the left thigh a little bit and then back up towards the knee. And where you're going to feel this is the outside of the left hip. The more you push that knee towards the wall in front of you, the deeper the stretch is going to be. If it's too much, back off just a little bit. We're just going to hold this. And then go ahead and release that. Take the hands and just sweep them right behind the right knee and tug that knee towards the body. And make a little rock side to side, breathing in, exhaling out. We're making an exception in this move, in this particular pose. We're actually going to rock a little bit just to relieve a little more strain and tension on the body. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. This is figure 4. So you can go ahead and relax the head again, press both feet into the mat, but then we're going to go ahead and take the right ankle and just place it right over that left knee, taking the hands and pressing the right knee towards that front wall right in front of you. Maybe you even knead the fingers down the thigh and then work them back towards that knee. And once again, the deeper the stretch, the more you're going to press that knee into the wall right in front of you. And just hold this for a bit. I'm not going to stay here very long. And then with your next breath, release that and take the hands and just bring them behind that left knee and pull the left knee in towards the body. And then just gentle rock side to side. Relax the head. Good. Beautiful work. Then on your next breath, we're going to release this and just bring both knees in. Just grab the knees and bring them in towards the chest. Maybe rotate the ankles a little bit here. If you want to rock a little bit side to side, perfectly fine. And we're almost there. We're going to take this to a happy baby. Grab the outside edges of the feet, pull the feet apart, maybe towards the walls, left foot towards left wall, right foot towards right wall. You can make this a still pose, or you can rock a little bit gently side to side. And we're just going to hold this. I'm going to count this one out. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And then bring the feet together. Just take the hands and bring the feet together so that the feet meet. This is Superbadakanasana, which is like a butterfly pose. And then you can take your hands and just bring them to the knees. And then we're just slowly supporting your legs, slowly bringing the feet to the mat until we come into a butterfly, where we're not going to stay very long. Just a little stretch before we go into Shavasana. So while you're in butterfly, squeeze the shoulder blades underneath you, draw the chin into the chest, and maybe take the hands and just press the thighs into the mat. Stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Then we're going to just take the hands to the outside edges of the thighs, draw the knees together, and then go ahead and relax the hands. Just bring the hands so that the palms are facing the ceiling, and let's just slide the right leg down to the end of the mat. Slide the left leg to the end of the mat. And let the feet just flop apart. And maybe you squeeze the shoulders a little bit deeper underneath you and move the neck side to side. And then come to stillness. This is our lovely, lovely Shavasana pose, how we're going to end this evening. And we really just want to totally let go of everything here. This is the ticket right here. So just completely soften in your face. Let everything go. Think about that little space between the eyebrows, the forehead, and just let that space melt. Just soften. Relax the face, all the muscles in the face, the jaw, maybe move it side to side. If your tongue is stuck to the roof of your mouth, just let it drop right into the lower palate. And then move down to your shoulders and just melt into the mat. Melt into the mat, your arms, your forearms, your elbow, your wrist, your fingertips. Moving down to the hips, just melt into your mat. Moving down to the knees, the ankles, the toes, the feet, melt into your mat. And just allow your body to fully relax. And we're going to stay here till the bells ring, which I will take care of. So just enjoy. With the sound of the bells, begin to awaken the body, stretching out your fingers, maybe spreading the toes. And then make a fist with your hands, rotate the wrists, maybe rotate the ankles. Good. And then draw the knees into the chest. Maybe you rock a little bit side to side. Maybe you windshield wipe the knees. And then slowly with your next breath, just roll to your right side. Make a little pillow for your head unless you're using your blanket. Draw the knees in a little tighter into your chest. And let's just breathe here. Take a deep breath in. Sip in a little more air. And then just let all that air out. Maybe it's through your mouth. Lion's breath is perfectly fine here. Take another breath in. Sip in a little more air. Lion's breath out. Good. And then when you're ready, just make your way back into a comfortable seated position on your mat. Maybe your eyes stay closed. That's even better if you can do that. And then when you're ready, just bring your hands to heart center. Press the fingertips together, press the palms together. Maybe you spread your fingers wide. Let's go ahead and dial the fingertips down towards the feet. Get a little stretch there. And then on your next breath, dial the fingertips right back up again, just rotating those wrists. One last stretch. Thank you so much for joining tonight for Yin Yoga. I hope you feel really great and have a wonderful week ahead. Namaste.